This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Don Meyer, Space Coast News Editor. STARLINK. Maybe you've heard of it, but do you really know what it is? Perhaps you believe it's like Skynet in the Terminator movies. I hope not. You see, STARLINK is SpaceX's network of thousands of private mass-produced small satellites in low Earth orbit. The goal of STARLINK is to sell internet connections to almost anyone on the planet by way of a growing network of satellites. At present, that network consists of over 1,625 satellites looking to serve people currently without access to high-speed internet. A typical STARLINK mission launches between 50 to 60 satellites at a time via a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Why? Well, like I said, the goal of STARLINK is to provide high-speed broadband to people in rural areas and other parts of the world who don't already have access to it or where connectivity has typically been a challenge. Eventually, STARLINK hopes to blanket the entire planet in a usable high-speed Wi-Fi signal. Here's Elon Musk to talk about the purpose of STARLINK.
Providing broadband, in fact, it will be helpful to telcos because STARLINK will serve the hardest to serve customers that telcos otherwise have trouble doing with landlines or even with cell towers. 5G is great for high-density situations like being here in DC or New York, San Francisco, that kind of thing. 5G is great for high-density situations, but it's actually not great for the countryside. Mm-hmm. You know, for rural areas, it's not great. You need range, and so in any kind of sparse environment, 5G is really not well suited. But it's great for dense city situations. So STARLINK will effectively serve the 3 or 4% hardest to reach customers for telcos, or people who simply have no connectivity right now, or the connectivity is really bad. So I think it will be actually helpful and take a significant load off the traditional telcos. The bandwidth is a very complex question. Let's just say somebody will be able to watch high-def movies, play video games, and do all the things they want to do without noticing speed. It's very important that you don't need a specialist to install. The goal is that the instructions in the box there's just 2 instructions, and they can be done in either order. Point at sky, plug in. And you do it either order, sequence doesn't matter, and it will work. You can't see the satellites. If you can't see the satellites, it can't see you.
One concern voiced has been that the reflection from so many satellites could interfere with astronomical observations. Musk detailed the precautions that are being taken to prevent such interference.
I am confident that we will not cause any impact whatsoever in astronomical discoveries. 0. That's my prediction. We'll take corrective action if it's above 0. But now that the satellites are on orbit, I would be impressed if somebody can actually tell me where all of them are. I've not met someone who can tell me where all of them are, not even one person. We're actually working with senior members of the science community and senior astronomers to minimize the potential for reflection of the satellites. So we're running a bunch of experiments to, for example, just paint the phased array antenna black instead of white. And we're working on a sunshade because there are like certain angles where if the sun gets just right and there's not like a little sunshade, we're not talking about a lot here, then you can get a reflection. And so we're launching a sunshade, changing the color of the satellites, and otherwise minimizing the potential for any impact.
Once all of the STARLINK satellites are in place, what will the world be like? We shall see. From Florida's Space Coast, this is Don Meyer for About Space Today.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.